You thought they were only myths, whispered stories told around campfires, ancient legends written in crumbling scrolls, forgotten tales buried beneath the weight of time. You believed them to be nothing more than echoes of a world that no longer existed, relics of civilizations long gone. But the gods were never just stories. They were never truly forgotten. They watched in silence as humanity turned its back on them, replacing sacred temples with towers of glass and steel, trading prayers for progress, and forsaking the old ways in favor of science and reason. Their names, once spoken with reverence, faded from human tongues, lost to the ages. Their altars crumbled, their symbols erased, their power waning with every passing generation. And yet, the gods did not die. They waited. They waited for the moment when faith would falter, when doubt would creep into human hearts, when the veil between worlds would thin. They knew the time would come when humanity would once again look to the heavens, searching for answers, longing for something greater than themselves. And when that moment arrived, the gods would return, not as benevolent saviors, but as rulers reclaiming their thrones. For the gods are not merciful beings. They are conquerors. They are warriors. They do not share dominion, and they do not forgive betrayal. Now, the heavens tremble as the ancient war reignites. A war that once tore through the celestial realms now threatens to spill into the mortal world. And this time, it is not just one pantheon that rises. The Olympians awaken, their thrones once again illuminated by divine fire. But they are not the only gods who have been waiting. From the frozen north, the Slavic gods stir, their eyes burning with the same fury they carried in the wars of old. The battle lines are drawn, Greek against Slavic, Olympians against the children of Perun, Titans against celestial beasts, and humanity. Humanity is caught in the crossfire. There was a time when the gods stood unchallenged, their rule absolute. Zeus commanded the skies, his thunderbolts striking fear into the hearts of mortals. Hades reigned over the underworld, his kingdom vast and inescapable. Poseidon stirred the oceans, his trident carving pathways through the depths. They were worshipped in temples of marble and gold, their altars heavy with offerings, their names sung in hymns carried on the wind. Their power was unquestioned, their influence bound to the devotion of their followers. But gods need belief to thrive. They need sacrifices, prayers, faith. And when mortals abandoned them, the Greek gods did not perish, they simply faded. For centuries, they drifted in the void beyond time, their power waning, their voices silent. They became nothing more than legends, their names reduced to words in history books, their temples left in ruins. They should have remained in their slumber, lost to the world they once ruled. But something has stirred them. Something has called them back. Not the worship of their people, not the rekindling of old faith, but something far more ancient and far more dangerous. War. But the Olympians were not the only ones who had been forgotten. Far to the north, where winters stretch endlessly and the forests whisper with old magic, the Slavic gods watched as their own names were erased from human memory. Perun, the mighty god of thunder, whose storms once shook the heavens. Veles, the cunning trickster, lord of the underworld and master of fate. Chernobog, the bringer of chaos, whose dark hand shaped destiny itself. Unlike the Olympians, they did not sleep. They did not fade into nothingness. They waited. For centuries, they remained hidden in the shadows of the deep woods, beneath frozen rivers, within the forgotten stones of ancient shrines. They watched as mortals grew arrogant, as they believed themselves free from the gods, untouchable in their fleeting existence. They watched as faith was abandoned, as the sacred was replaced with the mundane. But now, something has changed. The Olympians have returned, and with their awakening comes a challenge, one that the Slavic gods will not ignore. The last time these two pantheons met, the world trembled beneath their battle, the sky torn asunder by divine fury. They nearly shattered the heavens themselves. This time, they will not hold back. The war has begun. It begins as a whisper in the air, a feeling that something is shifting. Storms rise from nowhere, lightning splitting the sky without warning. The streets of Athens are haunted by moving shadows, whispering forgotten names. In Russia, summer is stolen by an unnatural frost, the rivers churning with unseen forces. The earth itself seems to groan under the weight of something ancient waking beneath its surface. Zeus, standing once more atop Mount Olympus, gazes down at the world he once ruled. He will not allow it to slip through his fingers again. Perun, from his throne of storm clouds, feels the challenge written in the sky and answers with a thunderclap that shakes the heavens. And the others? Hades gathers his shades, the lost souls who cry out for vengeance. Veils moves unseen between the cracks of reality, shaping tricks and illusions into weapons of war. Poseidon stirs the oceans, summoning the creatures of the deep to his cause. Chernobog, laughing in the darkness, spreads his influence like ink through the veins of the world. But gods do not fight alone. They have champions, mortals chosen to wield their power, to serve their will. And now, they must choose their warriors. Once, the gods chose heroes to fight their battles. Achilles, Hercules, Odysseus. The Slavic lands had their own warriors. Dobrynia, Ilya Muromets, the bow-getters of old. But their time has passed. Now, the gods must seek new champions among mortals who have no idea what fate awaits them. A Greek archaeologist, unknowingly carrying the blood of Apollo, finds himself drawn to the ruins of Delphi. A Russian soldier, haunted by visions of a two-headed eagle, hears a voice calling him to battle. A thief in Moscow, whose shadow moves before she does, begins to understand the power hidden in her blood. A sailor in Crete, who cannot drown no matter how deep he sinks, feels the ocean whisper secrets only he can hear. They are waking up. They are remembering who they are. And they are being called to war. The ruins of Delphi flare to life with golden fire as Zeus himself stands before the ancient temple, calling forth his storm. Across from him, the old priests of the Slavic pantheon emerge from the shadows, their runes glowing with forgotten power. The sky splits in two, Greek lightning on one side, Slavic thunder on the other. Perun descends from the heavens, hammer in hand, his eyes burning with challenge. He does not come alone. This is not a battle of words. This is not a war of mortals. This is gods against gods, power against power, and the world trembles beneath their fury. The gods have returned, and they will not fade again. The war of the heavens is now the war of the earth, and the fate of humanity hangs in the balance. The question is no longer whether the gods exist. The question is, whose side will you choose?